Research has led the way to a better understanding of what migraines are and why patients get them. This increased knowledge has opened the doors to better migraine management and treatment.
We now call migraine a neurological or neurogenic disorder, meaning it's coming from the brain itself.
Migraine is a complicated neurological process. It is a cascade of physiological events.
The lining of the brain has nerves. They release chemicals. When those chemicals are released, the nerve endings get excited, increase the firing. Those nerves then affect nerves in the brain itself. So it's like a chain reaction. So the trigeminal nerve, the nerve surrounding the brain, gets excited, its relay nucleus gets excited, and higher brain centers get excited.
So what happens in migraine are many biochemical events, and the brain cells themselves become sensitized, which is why the skin may feel sore or even burning, the eyes may be sensitive to light, sounds may be too loud, smells may be nauseating, because the entire brain is sensitized during a migraine attack.
Healthcare providers will often ask patients to keep a headache journal to identify potential triggers. Common triggers include a woman's menstrual cycle, specific foods, and certain scents.
What we believe is there's a biological predetermination to have migraine. And what these triggers do is lower the threshold and allow the attack to progress.
I think 30% of the time we can see an impact from triggers. People can identify specific things. And not every migraine you have is going to be caused by a trigger. I think that's the important takeaway message. That would be a clue to me. I better go with my migraine medicine.
You wave hi to me?
Renee couldn't isolate any specific triggers, but she did notice that when she became pregnant with her second child, her migraines went away. Unfortunately, her relief didn't last long.
Delivered my son and thought, this is fantastic, I'm back to normal. 8 weeks later, I felt the pressure building in my head, and within one day, it was exactly to where I had been. The headaches came back, and I was devastated. I was so upset. How could this possibly be happening again? I have a newborn baby once again, and I'm feeling this way again.
In Potomac, Maryland, 57-year-old Lori Singer has a specific type of headache called cluster headaches, and she's suffered from them since she was a teenager. Cluster headaches are unique in several ways. They occur in an episode or cluster that may happen daily over a period of weeks, sometimes even months. They may then disappear, only to recur seasonally the following year. Attacks often come in the early morning hours and will waken the patient from sleep.
My first cluster came when I was a senior in high school. I was at the beach living in San Diego, and I thought maybe I'd gotten too much sun. I kind of woke up from maybe a little nap on the towel, and my head was hurting. And I thought, how odd, what a strange feeling. And it just built in its intensity.
Cluster headache is like somebody putting a hot poker right through your eye for 30 minutes. Your eye runs, your nose tears, you run around, you take a hot shower, you feel like jumping off the roof, and you get anywhere from 1 to 4 attacks of that a day for weeks at a time.
And it builds very quickly, the pain does. It comes in and settles behind my left eye, immediately starts to close down my eyelid. It fills the sinus areas of the left side of the face, and it gets very stuffy, kind of like you have this instant cold. Your eye begins to tear up, and then the pain, as it travels through the hours of the headache, travels from behind the eye down around the side of the ear and runs the jawline. And once it gets down into the jawline, it's pretty much run its course.
As a professional television writer and producer for national sports and news stories, Lori knows all about production deadlines and time restrictions. But her cluster headaches were unforgiving regardless of the story she was covering.
I remember one situation where I was in the middle of a huge production shoot, and a lot of people depended on me to be there. I was directing this big series of stories. and I had this terrible headache, and it just flattened me. And I actually had to call a halt for a couple of hours. Everybody took a break. I went upstairs and just tried to walk myself through the headache. Got through it, came back down, and we finished the shoot that day. But it did impact everyone because of this cluster.
Unlike migraine, where patients want to lie down in quiet, dark rooms, patients with cluster headaches oftentimes get relief from walking around.
I always found that to walk around would help me tremendously. At most headaches, I could kind of walk myself out of the headache. And the other thing is I would try to do some kind of exercise with my arms, upper body exercises. So I've always tried to do those kinds of things, and they've always helped better than any medicine I've ever been prescribed.
How much do migraines cost, and when is it time to see the doctor about those headaches? We'll answer both those questions still ahead. Plus, we'll take a look at the treatments that may help migraine patients bring their headaches under control.